Casey Gray here from The Conscious Builder, and on today's video I'm going to be explaining the difference between project management and site supervision and why you need both of these positions filled on your major renovation or custom home project. A simple way to look at this is project management is very heavy on the paperwork side of things, whereas site supervision is more hands-on, and we try to minimize the amount of paperwork because there's less time for that type of work for the site supervisor. Another way you can look at this is that the project manager or project management position is looking months ahead. They're looking at the big picture of how everything is coming together. And the site supervision role is really looking at the day-to-day activities and looking weeks ahead, dealing with all the nitty-gritty details that are super important on site. All right, now let's go into a little bit more detail and actually look at the responsibilities for each of these positions. We'll start with project management. The responsibilities that fall under this position mostly hinge around scope, budget, and schedule. They include defining and managing the scope of the project, budget updating, tracking, and cost control, pre-construction planning and advising, gate reviews and handoff to the site supervisors, developing, maintaining, and tracking team schedules, quality control, client satisfaction review and release of communication with customers, assessing bids and awarding contracts that best suit the project's needs and requirements, meetings with subcontractors and clients and recording meeting minutes when required, site support, cost summary reviews, and purchase orders and change order creation. As you can see, there is a lot of responsibilities, and this position often has a supporting role like a project coordinator. Now, let's look at the site supervision list of responsibilities. Site supervision would include leadership, management, and accountability for the team members on site, setting the pace of the work, material takeoffs and ordering, accepting and verifying those deliveries, supervising other employees and subcontractors, health and safety on job site, including weekly safety meetings and documentation, daily logs and pictures of work completed on site, quality control, site meetings with inspectors, timesheet approvals for the people on site, regular meetings with the project manager and clients, and completion of PDI and project closeout. Now, a lot of people think that project management and site supervision are the same thing, but as you can see from both of these extensive lists, that there is a lot of work for one person to do all of that. The other thing that I like to point out is that there is a very important aspect of the site supervision role, and that is health and safety. So if you are only hiring a project manager for your project, then the site supervision aspect for health and safety may not be fulfilled. So where we build, it is necessary for somebody on site to be in charge at all times. And that, in our case, is that site supervisor. The first question that Ministry of Labor, we'll call it a safety inspector, asks when they show up on site is who's in charge. And if nobody can say it's me, that is a big red flag, and there might be some fines coming down the pipe. And I hope this doesn't happen. If something were to happen on site that was major and significant where they had to be called, there could be some big problems if nobody was actually in charge. Now, outside of these two roles, we also have office support. So for example, the project manager is taking responsibility for creating the purchase orders and tracking the budget and so forth. But when those receipts and invoices come in, somebody else needs to enter them and make sure they get paid. So this is something that's required for every project, but it's not something that's directly charged to the project. This is an overhead for the company, but a very important aspect for any construction that is happening and a very time-consuming part. If you're looking to take on the project management or the site supervision for your own project, understand that you take on all of these responsibilities. I also warn people that there are only so many hours in a day, so if you're working a full-time job and you have a family and you're trying to manage your own project, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to do everything very well, and maybe everything is going to start slipping a little bit. So this is why I highly recommend that people bring on a project manager and a site supervisor for their projects. I know I can speak from experience that I was trying to do all of these positions plus more when I started the business, and it did not go very well. It is where you have to start when you start a business, but I could not accomplish everything that's required of these positions just because there's only so much time that I can dedicate towards each one of those tasks in a single day. Now you're likely wondering, how much is it going to cost you to have a project manager and a site supervisor for your project? For the types of projects that we do, we typically land in the 14 to 20% range for both of those positions combined. The smaller the percentage, the larger the project is. Now, this does not include the pre-construction planning and advising, though. That would be separate from the project management site supervision that's required just for the construction aspect of your project. If you are in Ottawa, Ontario, and you want to explore some options for your project, you can reach out to us through the link in the video description below. If you just have some questions, you can post those in the comments below and we'll be sure to get back to you. Maybe you're just wondering how you can support the channel. One of the best ways you can do that is through liking the video and sharing it. And until next time, I'm Casey Gray, and remember to build consciously.